if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, or comment below. Let me know how this message resonates with you. So, during my meditation today, I was in the ocean and I was reminded of being a mermaid. I saw mermaids and mermans, and I saw myself in the dark, deep ocean. And the word that came to me was kick. From that word kick, I started to think about, okay, when you're in the ocean, if you're kicking, you're treading water. And I saw myself going down and coming back up and gasping for air. And it just made me think about how we're doing right now, because we're in a transformative time. We're transformed. That's how I feel that we all are feeling. Like, January has not been, and I don't think January really ever is. You know, it's that new time and people want to do new things for themselves and they have these new goals, and then they figure out that it's not the easiest thing to change overnight. However, I don't really think that I had any new goals per se, but I do feel as if we were transforming within, and that's to me the hardest sometimes, when we are dealing with our emotions and our mentalities, and then we're dealing with what's happening in the material world. So I was thinking about treading, and I'm thinking about treading lightly, and I'm thinking about this conversation I had with my uncle one day when he was like, well, if you can't tread water, can you really swim? You know what I mean? And it just made me think about being in an ocean, as if like we were thrown in this dark ocean, the darkness. And usually I compare darkness to being in the womb. And during the meditation, I was called to hold my womb, which is, if your thumb is underneath your belly button, that's your solar plexus. And I was supposed to look up what the solar plexus, what the affirmation for the solar plexus is, but I believe it's I can, and I will check later to make sure. And what that made me think about is having a change and a transformation within the limits that we put on ourselves. And instead of saying, I can't do this and I'm not going to do that, or I won't be able to do that, we're going into a place where we actually do really believe and trust ourselves and believe that we can do what we are setting out to do. And I think that 2020 is a time where everybody is really like done with the past self of limiting themselves based on what limitations other people have put on you, or the limitations that society puts on us, or the conditioning of whatever makes us limit ourselves to not be who we really are, our whole selves. And when I was thinking about being in the ocean, then it was just making me think about, like, if somebody puts you in the ocean maybe and you can't just come out. Say they put you in the ocean and you have to figure out how you're going to stay there. You have to tread water. You go down, you come back up, you gasp for air, you go back down. You're finding out what sea creatures are down there. You might be running or swimming away from some deadly creature. But it just made me think about when you are in a dark space sometimes, say you're in a cave, you can't give up. You have to figure out how to get out of the dark place. If you are in a womb, you're already planted there. So the only way to get out is to be born. And I do feel that right now, collectively, we're between the crowning stage of the birth process and the shoulders of the birth process. You know, it still can be possibly painful depending on what you're going through. It still is like, I don't know what's going on, but it's like you're almost kind of out of it. And I think that you should give yourself more credit than you're probably giving yourself. Okay? So if any of you feel like you're in the same place, you're not, internally, spiritually, mentally, even if you're physically, you're really different. So if you're in the same place, you're in the same place physically, but you're not the same place inside. And that could be depending on if you learned a new skill, or if, like, being in the water forces you to learn new skills. If you were on a deserted island and you just came out of a cave, you learned how to get out of that cave, and you learned how to get out of the you learned how to swim. If you didn't know how, if somebody throws you in, you're gonna find out. And I just feel like that is kind of the energy that we've been into, where now we're coming out and we learned something. There's something that we learned. There's something that we gathered. There's a aha moment that we had, to where we're not really the same person that we were. And I think last year around this time I did a death and rebirth video. And right now I feel like we've transformed, where yeah, we're still being birthed. It's been a long birth, you know, but we're coming out now, you know, and we're going to be walking out. So I found that during my meditation I was shown Ariel, but I don't really know if I've even seen that movie. What is that movie called? The Little Mermaid. Okay, so in The Little Mermaid, one thing I do know is that she lost her voice. So it just made me start to think that, you know, there's probably something that has to do with your throat chakra with all of us, where there's something either we need to say, there's something there's probably a way that there's something that we need to speak up about, there's something that we want to say or we want to share, or we have the tools to share where maybe we didn't before, and now we can do so confidently. Okay, so there's things that there's probably something that you need to say, either to somebody, to yourself, to, you know, where you're just deciding. But there's something, because I was shown Ariel, and I know that that goes with the theme of my meditation, which I've never had a meditation like this before, where it's like I did see a mermaid before I saw her, and I'm just like, okay, what? And then I saw like the mermaid going ashore and actually being able to have legs to walk. So then it just made me feel like, okay, we get thrown into this ocean. It's dark, it's scary. Think about an ocean in the night. That thing is crazy. Like, the ocean is crazy, the waves, the tides. Have you ever been in like on a cruise ship and just looked out? It's just black, it's dark, it's cold, it's lonely. Like, this can be like the space that we're coming out of, and you can apply that in any way that, you know, because it's going to be different for everybody. So I also was shown like green, and green is for the heart chakra. And later on, I'm going to look up what the heart chakra is connected to, because I can't think of what that affirmation would be. It could be I love, but I actually don't think that it is I love. And then I started thinking, I started to see Whitney Houston in that Cinderella movie when she was like, it's possible, or they were saying impossible. I don't know if they were saying impossible or it's possible, but then I saw Kevin Garnett when he's like, anything is possible. So I think that maybe we're all coming to this place where something that we just never thought we could do, now we can actually do. Or we could always do it, but we put limitations on ourselves to tell ourselves that we couldn't do it. And now we're coming into a place where it's like, oh, I could do that. We can do that. And I know that there's so many different factors of how this can be applied to you. So please think about that. So another thing that I thought about this morning, before I even meditated, I was writing down notes because I knew I wanted to make this video. And I thought about the birthing process, and I thought about, okay, even after the baby's born, then you still have to teach the baby how to latch on to your breast so that the baby can be nourished. And you still have to teach the baby how to then, after months go by, how to eat solid foods. And to me, that reminded me of us being in this space that we want to be in. Okay, now we're born again, right? We're born, we came through the womb, or now we have to learn how to latch on. And to me, that is like the universe or God's abundance. That is everything that we've asked for. That is the nourishment, the blessings that it is that we want. And we're going to have to learn how to receive that. Just like sometimes you have to learn how to take a compliment instead of, you know, somebody saying like, Lucy, you look good today. You're like, you look good today. like, you, now it's the time to stand up, you know, and take in everything, all the good things that you're gonna get right now. And then we eventually have to learn how to eat solid foods. And then it reminded me of my first accident where I had to learn how to eat solid foods again, and I had to learn how to actually like hold my mouth because my jaw was broken. So I just felt odd, and I felt weird, and I felt like a new person, and I felt like an alien, and I just felt like I just didn't even know how to be. And I was just like, I used to be in the mirror like trying to really fix my mouth to just sit right. And I just thought about the transformation of like who I was before that accident, who I was after that accident, and even the outer appearance. Like, I have a few scars, but if you look at me, you can't really tell that I've had a shattered jaw. You know what I mean? So it's like transformation, and it transformed my mind as well. So that's another thing where it's like the traumatic events and experiences that we've all been through, because we've all been through traumatic events and experiences, change our mind. And sometimes it's for the positive, sometimes it's for the negative. But I think that we really can't see the transformation until we've gone through it, and then we look back and say, dang, I really was strong, you know? So that's what I feel like everybody needs to know, that no matter everything that we've been through as a collective, because some people have had way more traumatic experiences than other people, but it's transformed you, and it's going to bring you to the best parts of yourself, it's going to make things better for you. It was terrible. I'm not saying that it was easy. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying to get over it either. But I'm just saying that it transformed you, and you will never be the same person that you were before whatever that event was. Okay, so now we're going to go into trusting and believing. I think that it's very important, and it's imperative at this time for us to trust and believe in ourselves. And it may sound, you know, like, it may sound cookie cutter and cliche, but nobody really ever, like, everybody's not always taught to trust themselves. Everybody's not always taught to believe in themselves. And sometimes, even when you are, sometimes we make mistakes, or we make decisions or choices where we all of a sudden we don't trust ourselves anymore, because it's like, well, the last time I made that choice, something bad happened, or pain came, or hurt came, or I just don't think that was a good idea. But I think that you have to release, and then come back to yourself and say, well, you know, you're not that same person anymore, and you're not going to make those decisions anymore. And it's hard. It's not an easy thing to trust yourself, I don't think, and to believe in yourself to the magnitude that is required of us for what it is that we want now. So we have to keep it extra real with ourselves. If we truly trust ourselves in the possibility of certain things happening, and if we truly believe, that's how we hold ourselves back from having the life that we want and doing what we want to do. So if you are the person that I think you are watching this video, and you don't want to hold yourself back anymore, then it's time to trust and believe. And when I was writing my notes down, I was thinking about how I felt like some people might watch this video and be like, duh, like, come on, what is she talking about? Like, this is ABC 1, 2, 3. But I remember back in the day, or not back in the day, but every time it gets around graduation time, then there's some people who say like that they're actually annoyed with people's graduation pics and celebrations. But I don't want to do this because I've never been here, but sometimes when you're at college, man, like, you're away. You go away. You're away from your family. You're away from your support system. You're broke. Sometimes you don't have anything to eat. Sometimes people overeat. Sometimes people undereat. And then it's really a mental test to you taking care of yourself, and to you growing into the beginning of your adulthood. And when you're done, that's why sometimes people are so emotional, because it's like, people die during that time. People have babies during that time. Your nephews and nieces grow up during that time, and you miss a part of life depending on where you go to school at. So when you have finally accomplished that, and like my mom told me, nobody can ever take that away, you know, that's what I feel about this time. It just feels like you did it. It's not easy, and that's why people are so emotional, because you show yourself what you got. You know, sometimes You have to show yourself what you're made of. Your mental and your physical is deteriorating, and the only thing that really brings you through these hard times sometimes is your spiritual self. Okay, so I was thinking of, like, when I saw that ocean, it made me think of a growth gym. If when you're in the cave, it's a growth gym. When you're in the womb, it's a growth gym where you're growing and you don't really realize it at the time because it's so rough. And it's with graduation, it's the growth gym before real life. If you're an adolescent coming out of high school, you know. So trusting and believing are scary words, because what about the times you really trusted and believed XYZ and it didn't work out? So what I want us to do now is to divorce and cut the times, cut those times out of our head, because obviously it was traumatizing, because we always think it's going to happen again. So we need to cut it. Even if we need to cut it, just cut the energy out and think about it and try to, like, visualize it, just wash it away from us. Visualize it going in the garbage can and being taken away. Visualize it getting thrown into the ocean or somewhere else. So we're gonna get the cards now. So what I did this time around is I pulled cards. So if you are okay with the message that you've gotten so far, then I'll see you later. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if this message resonates with you. And for those of you who want to see if the cards, because I want to see too, I didn't look at the cards, see if the cards connected with the message of transformation that I've given you thus far, then stay tuned. Okay, the first card that I picked is the initiation card. It says rite of passage. You're going somewhere sacred, and it's literally a cave. Okay, so I think, and I've actually been told this a few days ago. One of my teachers told me that I was going through an initiation, and it's just that time where you kind of are really holding on to the old and you're not letting yourself go. And I was really doing that. Actually, I talked to two teachers that were pushing me, and I had to do something that was very scary for me, and I didn't want to do it. But then once I did it, then I was just like, oh, I got this. Okay, the next card I pulled is the mirror card. Who or what is triggering you? So you know that if somebody's making you upset right now, or if something is happening that is making you very upset, then that is a gift, because you look at it and you figure out, what is it that I need to do right now? What is it that I need to change? What is it that I can no longer take any more of? And it pushes you, it serves you as a catalyst for the change that you want and need in your life and in your journey at this time. Okay, the next card I pulled was the hope card. And I'm going to take this as, earlier I was talking about the solar plexus, and that color that represents the solar plexus is yellow. And I'm just going to take a look to make sure that I'm right about the affirmation that goes along with the solar plexus chakra. And I am. The color is yellow, and the keywords are I can. Even if you couldn't in the past, you can now. So cut it. All right, the next card I got is the Prosperity Begins card. Okay, it has a number 1 at the top, and let's see what the number 1 means again to remind me. Beginnings, initiation, leadership, self, courage, and willpower. You got this. You're the one that's changing this and turning it around, and you have already transformed into the person, so there's really nothing else to say. The next card I got is Deception and Envy. I don't know if that's saying that people's going to be hating, but let me read it, because I don't want to give you the wrong idea. But it is a number 7 at the top. And number 7 stands for spirituality, inner awareness, mastery, wisdom, insight, and success. So I'm going to read it as soon as I find where it is. The Deception and Envy card. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. This card comes at a time when individuals or conditions aren't what they appear to be. How well do you really know the people around you? Are they telling you everything you need to know? In business, make sure you gather all the necessary information so that you're aware of and understand all the facts before continuing. You've worked hard. Don't let others take from you what is rightly yours. Unfortunately, some people may be envious. All right, so we just recovered the video that was deleted, and that's what I want to tell you guys about this card right here. My hater card right here. Haters are not only physical people. Got that? You see how many times my video crashed? Haters are not only physical people, okay? So let me finish reading this because I wasn't even finished reading it. Unfortunately, some people may be envious of your accomplishments. This card also represents a time of sudden and unexpected changes, or when plans that you're undertaking may not turn out exactly the way you envisioned. Have a plan B as a fallback strategy to prevent future problems. Use this card as a reminder to be prepared. Also, in my meditation, I thought about the heart chakra, and because this card is filled with green, I'm going to go ahead and read something from the heart. Okay, your heart chakra, the color is green, and the words are I love. So I was right. So I think that is all just to put into yourself. You love yourself, do self-love. If you feel like you have friends that don't like you, why are you still talking to them? If you feel like you're, sometimes, are you betraying your own self? Because now you're going into a new place. So you actually need to stop playing with yourself and stop playing yourself. All right, so we're going to go to the next one. I've never gotten this card before. So it is the universe card, and it adds up to the number 3. So I'm going to read what 3 is. And then in my next video, I will look this up before, so I'm not always looking. Trinity, harmony, union, expansion, advancement, enthusiasm, and birth. I told y'all I didn't look at these cards until right now, okay? So you've come a far way on your journey, and it's time to be rewarded for your efforts. This card symbolizes completion, triumph, peace, liberation, and fulfillment. Everything you've strived for is within your reach. Meet it halfway and grab it. The universe is the last of the major arcana cards and reflects the work that you've accomplished on your travels, but more importantly, it represents the wisdom that you've gained along the way. You guys, I'm getting chills. You should now honor and acknowledge the truly wonderful soul that you are, and accept the vital part that you play in the bigger scheme of life. The world is yours to command, and you're free to travel in whatever direction your heart desires. Oh, maybe that's why I was getting heart. You're connected to everything in the cosmos. The universe card is a reminder that the same energy making up the stars in the sky, the same energy that's coursing through the universe, is in each and every individual. God. I added that. In ancient times, many believed that each star was the soul of one person. They also believed that these souls shined so brightly to guide others through the darkness, and so too can your wise soul. So, the darkness just wraps up everything I was talking about with the ocean. I talked about the number 1, which is the birth card. And you guys, I don't think you're ready for this. The portal of transcendence. Now, what does that look like? Tell me that doesn't look like the crowning when you're getting birthed. Tell me it doesn't. Okay? Hold on. Let me read to you what this card is. Because I'm not playing. Okay? This is just, I'm just the messenger. The portal of transcendence. The qualities for this card. Guys, ready? The birth canal of the divine self. And I'm not joking. It says it in the book. I did not look at these cards. Just trying to tell you. Contractions of birth. Bliss, stargate, ecstatic communion, secret doorway, seen and unseen. Remember the dark ocean, the dark cave, the dark womb. Emptiness, the void, unknowable. What I talked about the unknown. Revealed and the revealer. Discover your fullness. Surrender to the contractions. You are in the process of birthing your expanded self. Be delivered unto ecstasy. You are the conscious dreamer awakening the dream. You are the knower. You are the oracle. You are the love. There is no other. And before I leave, at the end of my meditation, I did hear you are the oracle, but I just thought that that was for me, so I didn't say it. But you guys are the oracle, and we're all the same. And if you're on this video, then you are my family. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, or subscribe, and I will have all my information below. Peace.